بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين صلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to resume our series on Kashf al-Murad, and I am sorry that I am late. Inshallah, I have to improve. Okay, as you remember, we were talking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's quality of power or qudrah, and we were discussing the last thing, the very last thing that Khaja rahmatullah alayh mentioned, which was وَأُمُومِيَّةُ الْعِلَّةِ تَسْتَلْزِمُ عُمُومِيَّةَ الصِّفَةِ. The fact that the cause is general, then the quality must also be general. So what is the reason? What is the cause for Allah's power? If that is general, which is Allah has power over mumkinat, then with everything He has to have this power. So we said this is against the idea of some groups of theologians and some philosophers. I of course mentioned that true kind of philosophical idea would not conflict with that, but maybe some people have misunderstanding of qa'idat al-wahid, and that is an issue. Otherwise, I don't think there's a conflict with philosophy. Now, another group is Majus. So these are people of Milal and Nahal, but not inside the Muslim community. These are the Majus in Zoroastrians. As we said, there is a common conception. Some Zoroastrians say we don't actually believe in this. We don't believe in dualism. We believe in Tawheed. And we welcome that, and we are very much welcoming if they say like this. But in many texts, there has been such conception. Maybe some of their own sayings have also led to this, that they believe in a kind of dualism, in the sense that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is responsible for the good part of the world.
Sheikh Safina sent a message, she can't hear anything on the link. Is it the same problem for other people?
Brother Abu Hussein, can you hear me? Sister Safina cannot hear me.
The voice is lower than usual, but I can hear you.
Okay.
So there needs to be a bit of an amplification. I'm amplifying on my side. Sister Safina says she can hear you now.
Okay. So they have this idea that Allah is responsible for the good part of the world, and the bad part is under Satan or Ahriman. And therefore they say Allah cannot be thought that He has power over good and bad. Shar or bad falls outside His power. وَالْمَجُوسُ الذَّهَبُ إِلَىٰ أَنَّ الْخَيْرَ مِنَ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَالشَّرُّ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. Majus have gone to this idea, means have maintained this idea that khair is, the good is from Allah, and the evil and bad is from shaitan, Satan, or ahriman as they call it. لأن الله تعالى خير محض, because Allah is pure good, purely good, simply good, mere good.
Do they use the term Allah, or do they use the term?
No, in Arabic we have to say Allah, because even for Christians and Jews, if they want to say God in Arabic, they say Allah. But in their Farsi, their own Farsi version, they say Ahura Mazda. لأن الله تعالى خير محض وفاعل الشر شرير. Allah is mere good or merely good, if we change a little bit, and the one that does the evil is to be vicious. Allah cannot be doing bad because He is only good and only good comes from Him. So in this way they thought that we cannot say his power belongs to everything. For example, can he kill an innocent person? They say no, because this is shar. Wal-Manawiyya, those who follow an ancient Iranian prophet called Mani, they believe that أن الخير من النور والشر من الظلم. A kind of dualism. They have the idea that khair is from light and shar is from darkness. So you cannot think that Allah, who is light, would be responsible or capable of doing things which are a matter of darkness. One Nadham. Now inside Muslim Ummah, Nadham says, إن الله تعالى لا يقدر على القبيح. You are aware that we don't say Allah does qabih, yeah? But we don't say He doesn't have power for qabih. The way we say إن الله لا يفعل القبيح. But they say لا يقدر على القبيح. It's a big difference. We say yes, لا يفعل القبيح, but He is قادر على القبيح. So Nazam says إن الله تعالى لا يقدر على القبيح. He has no power for doing bad things. Qabih means things which are immoral, yeah? Opposite to Hasan. لأنه يدل على الجهل أو الحاجة. Because doing qabih indicates ignorance or need. None of them exist in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is no motivation for him, there is no desire, there is no reason for him to do something which is immoral. It's like, for example, when someone has no illat gha'i, then he cannot do anything because illat gha'i is part of the illat tammeh. وَذَهَبَ الْبَلْخِي, another theologian says, أن الله تعالى لا يقدر على مثل مقدور العبد. Whatever is falling under human power, this similar thing cannot be attributed to his power. مثل مقدور العبد. Why? Because human actions are لأنه. Because what is مقدور العبد? The actions which are, within our capability. إما طاعة أو سفه. Either they are طاعة or they are safa. Either they are obedience or a kind of irrational action, safa. Yeah, safi is stupid person, a fool person. So our actions can be, for example, ihsan or can be zulm. How can you use ta'ah or zulm for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Even ta'ah cannot be used for him because he is not obedient. But it is interesting that he says ta'ah aw safa. He doesn't say, for example, wise or safi. It doesn't say wise or wise. Thank you very much. وَذَهَبَ الْجُبَّائِيَّانِ وَذَهَبَ الْجُبَّائِيَّانِ إِلَىٰ أَنَّهُ تَعَالَىٰ لَا يَقْدِرُ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِ مَقْدُورِ الْعَبْدِ. The two Jubbai, father and son, I think, they have similar idea to Balkhi, but please be careful. Balkhi was saying مثل مقدور العبد. Yeah, means something similar to us, means like our actions. Jubba'iyan, they say عين مقدور العبد, means whatever action we have power, the very same action, not something similar. The very same action that we have power over it, Allah would not have power over it. Because they cannot understand how two fa'il can have power over the same thing. Okay? So what is their concern? عين مقدور العبد. The same thing that the servant is capable of doing. وَإِلَّا, because if Allah and a human being has power over the same thing, لَزِمَ اجْتِمَاعُ الْوُجُودِ وَالْعَدَمِ, then it would imply that existence and non-existence coexist. How? If Allah wants to do something, the same thing is under the power of servant, and servant doesn't want to do it. So servant wants to keep it ma'doom, Allah wants to give it existence. So there will be a conflict. Of course, we will explain that this is not a real conflict, because there is no problem that if two agents can do something, one of them doesn't want, the other one wants. It's not that one of them can make it ma'doom. The maximum is that doesn't give existence to it. Okay, the other one gives existence. You know? Because there is no i'dam in the sense that you give a kind of umbrella of Adam that no one can touch it. هذه المقالات كلها باطلة. These opinions are all batil. They are all false. Why? Because as we said, the reason for Allah having power over everything is that they are all mumkinat. We are talking about things which are mumkin. Yes, if something is impossible, if something is muhal or mustahil, we don't say Allah has power over it. Yeah, for example, someone says, can Allah make two parallel lines meet? Can Allah make 2 + 2 5? Can Allah make something greater than him? These are muhalat. These are things which are impossible. We are not talking about this. But anything which in itself is mumkin, anything which is mumkin bidhat, Allah has power over it. Whether he does it or not, it's based on his will. It's based on his essence and qualities, but he has power. هذه المقالات كلها باطلة. All these opinions are false. Why? لأن المقتضي لتعلق القدرة بالمقدور, because what is leading, what is bringing the belonging of power to what is possible, what is under the power, is imkan, is contingency. Because if something is wajibul wujud bizzat or mumtani'ul wujud bizzat, there is no power. Yeah? Can you do something which is wajibul wujud bizzat? This is tahsilul hasil. Can you do something which is mumtani' bizzat? Is muhal. It's impossible. The only thing that power can have a role and belong to is what? Mumkinat. Is ma'al wujub wal imtina' la ta'alluqa. Means la ta'alluqa lil qudra. Yeah? With wujub, which means wujub bizzat. And with imtina, which is mumtani' bizzat, there is no chance of power belonging to it. Wal imkanu thabitun fil jami'. But contingency is there for all these cases. Whether it is shar, whether it is, I don't know, qabi, whether it is safa, whatever, thank you very much. It is always possible. فثبت الحكم والإمكان ثابت في الجميع فثبت الحكم وهو الصحة التعلق. If imkan is general and exists in all of them, so then qudra also must belong to all of them. So صحة التعلق also would be possible for all of them. وإلى هذا أشار المصنف رحمه الله. Allama Hilli says, Khaja Nasiruddin, the one who has the text, we say Martin and Sharih. Yeah, Martin means the one who has written the main text. Sharih is the commentator, which is Allama Hilli. So this Musannif, the one who has compiled, which means the Martin, Khaja, refers to this بقوله عمومية العلة أي الإمكان تستلزم عمومية الصفة. Generality of the cause requires generality of the quality. What does it mean? It means that because imkan is there everywhere, so qudra, which is the sifa of Allah, should also belong to everything. كل مقدور. Okay, this is the general answer. Now, if we want to answer in particular to Majus, we can say, because they have mentioned a shubha, a kind of objection, we have to clarify. Shubha always needs what? Clarification. Yeah. Means it's a kind of complexity here. Yes. We say, why do you think Allah cannot have power for shar? What's your problem? Is your problem that khair and shar are mutaqabil, as we say in mantiq? Remember taqabul. We have taqabul, which is 4 types, yeah? Because, tazad, adam malake, tanaquz, and tadayuf. These 4 types, yeah? Tadayuf, tazad, tanaquz, adam malake. Do you want to say, because khair and shar are mutaqabil, are opposite, and they cannot be together, therefore Allah doesn't have power over both of them? The answer is, we are not talking about khair and shar. We are talking about the one who is going to do khair or shar. Yeah, we are talking about man fa'alahuma. That means the one who is doing them. What is wrong with saying Allah can do khair, Allah can do shar? We don't want to say khair and shar exist in the same place from the same direction. So, أن المراد من الخير والشرير إن كان من فعلهما. If what you means the one who does them, فلما لا يجوز إسنادهما إلى شيء واحد. Why we cannot say both these khair and shar are attributed to one fa'il? Plus, who said khair and shar cannot be together? Even if you are not talking about fa'il, if you are talking about khair and shar itself. So, who said khair and shar cannot exist together? Who said they have taqabul? It's quite possible that something is khair from one aspect and shar from another aspect. Poison of a snake is good for a snake. It's bad for us, maybe. Even for us, it's not always bad. Sometimes we make, medicine from it. إذن الخير والشر ليس ذاتيين للشيء. Khair and shar are not essential qualities of something so that you say they cannot be together. فجاز أن يكون الشيء خيرا بالقياس إلى شيء وشيئا شرا بالقياس إلى آخر. So it's possible that the same thing in relation to something, بالقياس إلى means in relation to something, is bad, in relation to another thing is good. وحينئذ يصح إسنادهما إلى ذات واحدة. In this case, we can attribute both of them to the same essence. وعن شبهة النظام. What was the problem with Nazam? Nazam said Qabi is either because of Jahl or because of Haja. You do something bad either because you don't know or you have need. And Allah doesn't have Jahl or need, so He has no reason, no motivation for doing it. We said, okay, if your question is a matter of whether Allah has reason for it or not, yes, Allah doesn't have reason for it. But why you say Allah doesn't have power for it? Maybe I have power for doing something, but I don't have reason for doing this. I have no interest in doing this. Okay? These are 2 different things. وأن شبهة النظام أن الإحالة حصلت بالنظر إلى الداعي. He says this is muhal because he's looking at the da'i. Da'i means the one that calls the fa'il to do something. Means the motive. Yeah, the reason for doing something. Okay, fa'il, if it is Allah, He doesn't have any da'i, any motivation for doing bad things. But فَلَا تُنَافِي الْإِمْكَانَ الذَّاتِ. But this doesn't conflict with contingency. And contingency is al-muqtazi لِصِحَّةِ تَعَلُّقِ الْقَادِرِ. What we need is contingency. We don't talk about whether the fa'il has muqtazi to do this or reason for doing this or not. That's another issue. What is important for us is that is Allah's power belonging to this or not? Because remember, if you say Allah power doesn't belong to bad side, in addition to having a problem here, problem is that even you cannot say his power belongs to the other side, the good side, because power has always to be for fail wa tark. Otherwise Allah becomes mujab. Yeah? وعن شبهة البلخي. Okay, the objection or problem which was raised by Balkhi was that Allah cannot do something which is similar to what servant can do. Yeah, مثل مقدور العبد. We say أن الطاعة والعبث, or over there was الطاعة والسفة. Safa means something which is foolish, and abath means something which is vain. Means both of them means unwise, something which has no rational reason. So obedience and doing something in vain are two qualities that they have no problem in essence, in the sense that the action which is action of obedience or action of stupidity or any unwise action, these are two qualities of the same essence, if you consider the essence of the action. And we are talking about the essence of action. Can Allah do this action or not? Jubbaiyan or Jubbaiyain, if it is mansub or majroor. Wa an shubhatil Jubbaiyain. In the previous page we had Zahab al-Jubbaiyan, because that was fa'il, was marfu. وعن شبهة الجبائيين أن العدم أنما يحصل إذا لم يوجد داع لقادر آخر إلى إيجاده. Non-existence only happens if there is no other reason that would call to existence of this, to bringing this into existence, to initiating this. You say, this servant doesn't want to create this. Okay, he doesn't want to create this. Okay. That's the problem for that agent. But if Allah wants to do it, what's the problem? Allah can do it. The problem would be if none of the agents have reason to do this. That's another issue. So, Alhamdulillah, we managed to establish that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has power over everything which is mumkin. His power belongs to both sides, fail and tark. He can do this part or that part, but he only does good. In the end, his will is the one that determines. Yeah? His power belongs to both, but his will finally belong to one. He has to choose. Then will is preceded by da'i. Irada is preceded by da'i, by motive. He must have a reason for willing this. So will belongs to one at the end, but he has power for both. And sometimes there can be more than two if you are looking at options. Because if you say fail and tark, it becomes two. But if you consider different fail, it becomes more than one. So he has power over everything that is mumkin, and he decides when and how and whether to do or not. The next quality, al-mas'alatu al-thaniyah, fi annahu ta'ala alimun. The next thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alim. He has ilm, he has knowledge, he is knowledgeable. Khajana Siraddin Tusi rahmatullah alayhi very briefly again mentions in one sentence 3 arguments. قال والإحكام والتجرد واستناد كل شيء إليه واستناد كل شيء إليه دلائل العلم. إحكام. This world, this universe that Allah has created is أحكمت. Like the Quran, which is أحكمت, كتاب أحكمت آياته. This universe is also muhkam, it's firm. Yeah, everything is put in its place with strength. You know, sometimes you don't put things in the place, sometimes you put in the place, but they can collapse anytime. Yeah. For example, you have a loose shelf, bookshelf, you put books on them, so it's in place. But this is not firm, it can collapse. But Allah has made everything its own place and it's firm. So this ihkam, this firmness is a sign of knowledge. Another thing is at-tajarrud. One of the arguments for proving knowledge for Allah is that Allah is mujarrad, and everything which is mujarrad is knowledgeable of himself and other things. كل مجرد فهو عاقل.
Does Khaja mention this in the sentence?
Yes. But he just says والتجرد. الإحكام والتجرد. The fact that Allah is immaterial. But we will open discussion about it. And the third point, واستناد كل شيء إليه. The fact that everything is attributed to him. These three are dalailul ilm. These are reasons for his knowledge. These are three arguments for the knowledge of Allah. So each of them, he only mentions one word, which in logical sense, we call this hadd wasat. Because this is the key point, this is the middle term in qiyas, that then you build qiyas around this. Because hadd wasat is the one which repeats in sughra and kubra, in minor and major premises. أقول, Allah min rahmatullah alayhi says, لما فرغ, when he completed, he finished. Who? Khaja. من بيان كونه تعالى قادرا. When he finished with explaining that Allah is capable. And وكيفية قدرته. And also he explained the quality of his power. Means how his power works, the mechanism or the explanation of the power of Allah. So he said Allah has power, and he explained the kayfiyya, the quality, or how the power is existing. Lamma faraga shara'a. When he finished with that, with power, shara'a, he started fi bayan kawnihi ta'ala aliman. He started with explaining that Allah is alim wa kayfiyyat ilmi, and the quality of his knowledge. The same thing that we did with Qudra. We explained his Qudra and Kayfiyat Qudra. Now we explain Ilm and Kayfiyatul Ilm. واستدل على كونه تعالى عالما بوجوه ثلاثة. Khaja Nasir argued for knowledge of Allah in three ways. الأول منها للمتكلمين والأخيران للحكماء. The first way is for the mutakallimin, for the theologians. The other two are for hukama, for philosophers. Of course, you find philosophers also who may use that, because it's not anything problematic for philosophers. But in the sense that mutakallimin certainly mentioned that first one. So let's start with the first one. Al-wajhul awwal. And that is to look at the world, the creation of Allah, and establish ihkam, establish firmness. You are already familiar with this argument from previous books. This is actually the same argument from design. This is Burhan al-Nazm. If you remember in Aqaid we said that some of the arguments for existence of Allah are at the same time arguments for some of the qualities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, for example, we kept telling that Burhanun Nazm, argument from design, or cosmological argument, for example, or anything else, all of them may also prove some of the qualities of Allah. Yes? Therefore, we kept using them even for discussion about sifat, about qualities. Let us remind ourselves of what was argument from design. Argument from design was to refer to this world, and actually science here helps a lot. The more you know science, the more you can bring evidence. We look at this world and we find what? We find order. We find purpose. We find connectedness. Remember, in Islamic belief system, we highlighted three things. This is the world in which there is order. This is the world in which there is purpose. This is the world in which everything is connected. This design, which has order and purpose and connectedness, cannot be created by chance or by itself. It can only be by an intelligent designer. So you see, immediately we are also proving knowledge and intelligence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Of course, also quality of power, because designer must have power plus knowledge. He must know how to do it, and he must have a power for doing it. So this is very similar to that discussion that we had in previous books on aqaid. الوجه الأول أنه تعالى فعل الأفعال المحكمة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done firm actions. وَكُلُّ مَنْ كَانَ كَذَلِكَ فَهُوَ عَالِمٌ. And whoever is like that, means whoever can do muhkam, firm actions, he is knowledgeable. Okay? And here there's a beautiful point about hikmata amali also. When you know how to do things properly, but you don't do it properly, then what's the point of this knowledge? We had this hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he was very carefully putting all the bricks and stones of grave of some of his one of his companions, people said, this is a grave, I'm going to be buried under lots of soil, whatever. Rasulullah said, Allah loves when a servant does something, لَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ عَبْدًا إِذَا عَمِلَ عَمَلًا أَتْقَنَهُ. When you do something, you should do it properly. Okay? Of course, proper can mean different things. For example, if I am making something for a few days, proper means something that can be good for a few days. If I'm going to make for a few months, it's going to be for a month. But if it's for the whole year, then it has to be good for winter and summer. So if I'm doing something only for summer, for example, I'm going to put a tent in my yard for only summer, I don't need to make it something that can be good for 4 seasons. It's not the meaning of proper. But it has to be proper for summer. Okay? With all the predictions necessary. So anyway, we have to do everything properly. And theoretical knowledge helps you to understand how things can be proper, and practical knowledge helps you to deliver this. Yeah? But if you don't know, or you know but you don't bother, you are jahil. So jahil is the one who doesn't know or doesn't act according to his knowledge. In both cases is jahil, lacking theoretical and practical wisdom. الوجه الأول أنه تعالى فعل الأفعال المحكمة. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done firm things. وَكُلُّ مَنْ كَانَ كَذَلِكَ فَهُوَ عَالِمٌ. And whoever is like this, he is alim. Whoever can does things which are firm. أما المقدمة الأولى. We said we can say مقدمة, you can also say مقدمة. Both of them are correct. The first premise, the first thing that you have to establish, which is to be able to show that Allah has done things properly. Where do you get this? You can get this from your observation, especially if you are equipped with science. You can bring millions or billions of examples of ihkam in this world. Just human body is enough to show that how much design is there. Yeah, still after thousands of years, if you bring all the scientists and technicians of the world to make for us like a factory that does everything that happens in human body, I don't think they can do it. And even if they do it, that factory becomes like a city to do everything that one body does. Just last year we visited one of our brothers' baby that had to be put in the special care machine. This was maybe a few weeks. And a huge machine with lots of support was there, just doing what the mother's womb is doing. And still you are not sure, how much successful or not, so much worry, day and night, two people have to be there, so much machine. And the womb of mother much better does that. And now imagine if you want to do everything that kidneys, eyes, brain, stomach, blood, everything, if you want to do it with machine, you may not be able to do it, plus it may become like a huge factory. So this is just human body, then add to it other animals, plants, everything. So science helps a lot. أما المقدمة الأولى فحسية. The first premise is hissi, means you have to go and watch it to see it, observe it. It's understood through perception. لأن العالم, because the world is either falaki or unsuri. This is according to physics of that time, tabi'iyat of that time, that we have two types of عناصر or elements. We have things which have it in this world, and we have things which are for the skies, ethereal beings. In any case, whatever is there in this world, آثار الحكمة والإتقان فيهما ظاهرة مشاهدات. Means are obvious, ظاهرة, and مشاهدة, اسم مفعول, not masdar, means they are observed, they are watched. So you can see, you can do mushahada, you can see them. So if someone asks you why you say this alam is muhkam, mutqan, it has nazm, you say okay, go and see, go and examine in laboratory, go and study science. But the second premise, that when someone does something which is muhkam, has to be alim, doing something in a very organized, orderly, purposeful, connected way, needs alim. He says this is daruriyatun, this is badihi, this is self-evident. Something which shows maximum care and design cannot happen by chance, needs someone to understand it and to be able to make it. لأن الضرورة قاضية بأن غير العالم يستحيل منه وقوع الفعل المحكم المتقن مرة بعد أخرى. Because ضرورة, necessity, which means to be self-evident, قاضية, judges, means leads to this, that someone who is not alim, it's impossible for him to come from him an action which is firm and proper. And not just once, again and again. It's not that Allah has done once a nice thing. They say, okay, it could be by mistake. Of course, even if it was once, cannot be said it's by mistake. For example, Allah had created once a human being. It still was not by chance. But this is also repeated and so diverse, so repeated. So it's diverse in the sense that we have many, many beings and it is repeated, so it's not just once. So it cannot be said that it is just happening by chance. So there is itqan in the world, there is nazm in the world, order in the world. So the creator of this world must have knowledge to do it. Of course, he must have also power to do it. But right now, our discussion about knowledge. We already talked about power. After that, we go to the arguments for philosophers, which are based on tajarrud, immateriality, and on the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one to whom everything is attributed. Whatever exists in this world comes from Him. If me and you have knowledge, where does it come from? Can we think that we have knowledge but Allah doesn't have knowledge? So where did we get this from? Yeah? مُعْتَ الشَّيْء لَا يُمْكِنُ أَنْ يَكُونَ فَاقِدًا لِلشَّيْء. Yeah? And فَاقِدُ الشَّيْء لَا يُمْكِنُ أَنْ يَكُونَ مُعْطِيًا لِلشَّيْء. If you give something, you cannot lack it. And if you lack it, you cannot give it. Yes? So if Allah has given us our existence with qualities that it has, so any perfection which is in us, it's in Allah. Yes, any weakness, any limits is not from Him, but perfection comes from Him. Now, is knowledge perfection, or is knowledge is like weakness? Knowledge is a matter of perfection, so it must be coming from Him. It's different from weakness. Weakness is, we are, for example, visible. Does this visibility come from Him? Say no, visibility is a limit. And this limit doesn't come from Him. But you have a being, a type of being which is visible. That being that you have comes from Him. But the degree of being which is limit, degree is yours. Yeah? If I have 5 degree, for example, suppose, of knowledge, knowledge comes from Him, not 5 degree. So that you say, okay, so He must also have 5 degree. Is it clear? He gives me, like for example, I get some salary that is not enough to meet my needs. So I am lower than poverty line. I cannot say my poverty comes from Him, so He must be poor. I can say my money or my income, my rest comes from Him. And if I have less, this less cannot be found there. It's just that I have received a limited amount. So limit is not there, but whatever is existential, whatever is matter of perfection must be from Him. Inshallah, next week we mention these 2 arguments developed by philosophers about knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, based on tajarrud and based on the fact that everything is attributed to Him. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.